Hey Narwhals, I'm your host Luke Narwhal. Welcome back to another video on this Monday. Let's go ahead and dive right in. Weight loss TikTok rant. I just need to rant about this. Lately, I've been getting bombarded with TikToks about how counting your calories and counting your macros is bad. And the right way to lose weight is to just eat whenever you're hungry and stop when you're full. And if you feel like eating an extra piece of cake, go for it. And if you choose not to let yourself eat an extra piece of cake when you know you want to, you're depriving yourself, and that's bad. Like, excuse me, the reason I'm obese right now is because I ate whatever I want, whenever I want. Some people don't have hunger cues. I can't tell when I'm full sometimes. I don't know when it's too much. I've tried intuitive eating, and guess what? That led me to be the highest weight I've ever been. Some people need more structure in their diet, and they need to count calories and macros. I'm tired of being demonized for this and being treated like I have an ED just because I can't seem to figure out how to just eat the right amount without guidance. It just feels privileged almost for these people to tell me that, hey, calorie counting is bad. If you want to lose weight, just stop eating when you're full. It's such an oversimplification, and it's not helpful. I just don't get what's wrong with measuring your food. It makes me feel guilty for the way I'm going about losing weight, keeping track of calories and macros. Like, am I supposed to feel like crap just because my hunger cues are broken and I'm not able to eat intuitively and I need a more systematic approach to be able to tell when I've eaten enough? Note from Luke Narwhal, please see a doctor before attempting any weight loss plan. Calorie counting tends to get lumped in with Biggest Loser style, unhealthy weight loss, and lack of body positivity. For me, it's completely separate, and I do well counting calories with flexibility, setting fitness goals, and focusing on body positivity. It's my body, and this is working better than anything else, even if it's not trendy. As someone who's recovering from a binge ED, not keeping a food journal and eating whenever I feel hungry is one of the worst things I could possibly do. Years of being a professional athlete destroyed my ability to know appropriate levels of hunger and consumption, and without manual tracking, I can run off the rails very fast. I think this actually gets to the issue of how people oversimplify intuitive eating. The first step of starting intuitive eating is to develop the skill of listening to your body. Virtually all of us know how it feels to need to use the bathroom, but for a wide range of reasons, a lot of us aren't good at listening to our sensations about hunger. Lots of people in this thread bring up how they can't tell the difference between hunger and thirst, or hunger and craving comfort, or hunger or boredom. Something that gets lost in the high horse social media conversation is that learning to differentiate between those sensations is legitimately a skill. It takes practice and commitment. In my opinion, telling someone to just start following their hunger cues right now is kind of like telling someone to count calories, but you can't measure any of your food. Just use your intuition and guess how much olive oil you put in that pan. No crap, that would not friggin' work. TikTok is pushing the easy version of intuitive eating, and just like any easy diet, it's not gonna work. Changing how you eat requires learning and commitment and consistency, regardless of what method you're using. I feel like a lot of people who practice intuitive eating are former ED sufferers. A lot of people who have recovered from an ED or other EDs tend to associate all kinds of tracking or deficits as inherently disordered. It's very frustrating, but I have sympathy for them. They likely started out exactly like you and I, tracking what we eat and not eating over our calorie goals. But for them, it was a slippery slope that resulted in a bad place. I feel bad for them, and I understand these people as a bit of a cautionary tale. A cautionary tale to warn the dangers of getting lost in the sauce of dieting. But we can sympathize with them and also not take their advice. Don't feel bad if you cannot eat without some type of guideline. I think a lot of those who do super well with intuitive eating have had years of tracking, which taught them hunger cues, what foods work well and satiate them, what doesn't satiate them, and so on. I do not think it's at all realistic or fair to expect people who have binging issues to just be wild and free in the intuitive eating space. I also agree that it seems like it comes from a point of privilege to eat intuitively. Those with hormonal disorders do not have the same hunger cues. I know I physically cannot feel full when I'm about to get my period. I have to track and restrict in order not to overeat. It's maddeningly incomplete advice. Hunger is an evolved instinct like any other. It shouldn't be a constant enemy you have to restrain by tracking and abstraction, i.e. calories. That this seems necessary to so many people just reflects how deeply we've warped our nutritional environment compared to what we were eating even a few centuries ago. Garbage in, garbage out. Your choices, then, are to fight a constant battle of will against your own basic urge to eat via conventional dieting, or to reshape your choice of foods to more closely approximate those of a natural world, minus industrialized AG and the food industry. There's considerable detail involved in the second option, as well as a fair amount of debate, but if you succeed at this, eating intuitively should not lead you to ruin. I think people are so black and white on this issue, and those who have had personal issues, counting calories and macros, and also people who suffer and are recovering from EDs will often immediately go to the total opposite end of the spectrum, and then they'll project their issues with the counting method on everyone. In high school, I had a very bad relationship with food, and my fitness pal made me even more obsessive. I'm 25 now and I've stopped the ED cycle, so counting calories is very helpful for me. A lot of it is about perspective. It's so specific to each person. I wish TikTok personalities would stop demonizing methods that don't personally work for them. To be clear, I don't think you are being demonized. Most of those Instagram and TikTok accounts are focused on diet culture, which is harmful and reductive and doesn't one size fits all. Of course, there's a vocal minority that doesn't do the research and just shouts whatever is trendy into the void. Intuitive eating the right way also involves other steps, like frequent check-ins during the eating process with your emotions, physical sensations. It involves steps like drink a glass of water and wait 10 minutes if you feel hungry. It involves learning what different stages of hunger means and how to surf through an acute craving and what's hunger versus a craving. I think intuitive eating is not what got people to where they are, because that's not intuitive eating, that's overeating. And intuitive eating is not eat whatever you want. That's emotional eating, using eating as a vice or dopamine rush. Totally different thing. I think you're really misinterpreting these social media posts. They are not about making you feel like crap for calorie counting or needing structure. They're trying the opposite, telling people that they're not out of control addicted people for eating the occasional carb. I hate that calorie tracking is automatically seen as obsessive or ED by some people, and that we should all just be able to eat intuitively in moderation. Intuitive eating got me fat in the first place, and intuitive eating does not work for me in maintenance. I'm continuing to count calories in maintenance. I love calorie counting because I feel like it gives me the freedom to eat anything. I don't eat a muffin and then feel guilty because I ate something unhealthy. Because of calorie counting, I know that it fits into my day, and that's fine. It's like money and a budget. I don't need to keep a strict budget because I naturally spend less than I earn. I acknowledge that not everyone can do that, so some people need to keep a close eye on their spending. I see food the same way. I really agree with you. I think that mindful eating is really great in principle, and it's probably a long-term goal for me, but I did do mindful eating for a few months, and I did lose weight, but oh my god, I felt so stressed the whole time. I was constantly asking myself, am I hungry? Am I full? Am I just a little hungry? Should I stop eating now? What about 2 bites later? Am I concentrating enough on my food? Am I in the moment? It was exhausting. In the end, I went back to counting calories, and I suddenly felt so liberated. I could just scan the food and that I didn't have to think about it anymore. Just enjoy my food, but not also be under loads of pressure to enjoy it. I actually could rant for longer, but I'll spare you. Instagram Reels, which shows me the most random videos, got me down a rabbit hole of watching a nutritionist who makes TikToks basically roasting every diet app, eating style, etc. Intuitive eating is what she advocates, and I'm sure the way you learn to eat intuitively if your hunger cues are broken, like mine are, is to pay her lots of money to teach you. To be fair, I'm still going to have to go to therapy to learn how to feed myself better. It just rubbed me the wrong way for her to make these little videos using all the meme sound clips everyone uses, calling every single named method of eating unhealthy, when a lot of people need that kind of structure to at least get started. And that brings us to the featured narwhal of the day, but once again, before trying any plan, consult a doctor or healthcare professional. Now on to the featured narwhal of the day. 5'2" female. 160 to 108 pounds over the course of 5+ years from heaviest to today. Lost 40 pounds in the last 13 months.